Day 2 of 90. Yesterday we set up our Python security environment. Today we dig into data types, and I mean the specific types you actually use in security work. Not a textbook tour of ints and floats. I am talking about bytes versus strings, struct for binary protocols, bytearray for packet manipulation, and the data structures you need for processing logs and block lists. Type confusion between bytes and strings has caused real vulnerabilities in production security tools. Let us make sure that does not happen to us. Start with bytes versus strings. In Python 3, a string is Unicode text and bytes is raw binary data. Security work overwhelmingly operates on bytes. When you receive data from a socket, it comes back as bytes. When you compute a SHA-256 hash, hashlib expects bytes. When you parse an IP header, you are slicing bytes. Here is a concrete example. I have 20 bytes of a raw IPv4 header. To get the source IP, I slice bytes 12 through 16 and pass them to socket.init_ntoa. That function returns a human-readable string like 192.168.1.1. But if I accidentally pass it a string instead of bytes, type error. The boundary between bytes and strings is a trust boundary in your code. Every time you cross it, you need an explicit encode, or decode, call. Never let Python guess. Now struct. The struct module is how you parse and build fixed-width binary data. Network protocols pack fields into specific byte positions with specific widths. Struct.unpack takes a format string and a bytes buffer and gives you Python integers. The format string !HHII means network byte order, 2 unsigned shorts, 2 unsigned ints. Apply that to 12 bytes of TCP header and you get source port, destination port, sequence number, and acknowledgement number. The exclamation mark at the start is critical. It means big endian, which is what network protocols use. Your x86 CPU is little endian. If you forget the exclamation mark, struct uses native byte order and your port number 80 becomes 20480. I have seen that exact bug in open source security tools. Always use exclamation mark for network data. Bytearray is the mutable sibling of bytes. A bytes object is immutable. Once created, you cannot change individual bytes. A bytearray lets you modify bytes in place. Why does that matter? Packet crafting. Say you want to take an IP packet and change the TTL field. With bytes, you have to slice and concatenate to build a new object. With bytearray, you just assign to index 8, packet, 8, equals 128. Done. You can also zero out the checksum field, compute a new checksum over the modified header, and write it back. All in place, no copies. When you are building a fuzzer that sends thousands of modified packets per second, bytearray's in-place mutation saves significant overhead compared to rebuilding bytes objects each time. Hex encoding and decoding. Security tools produce hex output everywhere: file hashes, memory dumps, packet captures, shellcode listings. You need to convert fluently. Bytes.fromHex takes a hex string and returns raw bytes. The .hex method goes the other direction. For analysis, build a hex dump function that prints offset, hex bytes, and ASCII side by side. 10 lines of code. Loop through 16-byte chunks, format each byte as 2 hex digits, replace non-printable characters with dots. Once you have that function, you can visually inspect any binary data your tools produce. Base64 encoding. You see Base64 in HTTP basic authentication headers, JWT tokens, email attachments, and encoded payloads in web exploits. Base64.b64 encode takes bytes and returns bytes. base64.b64 decode, reverses it. Here is a practical example. An HTTP basic auth header contains the string admin : password, base64, encoded. To decode it, you base64, decode the string, decode the resulting bytes to UTF-8, and split on the colon. Now you have the username and password. For URL-safe contexts like tokens, use base64.urlsafe_b64 encode, which replaces plus and slash with hyphen and underscore. When you are analyzing web traffic or decoding suspicious payloads, base64 fluency is mandatory. Data structures for security data, dictionaries, sets, and namedtuples. Dictionaries are your go-to for parsed log entries. Each log line becomes a dict with keys like timestamp, action, src_ip, dst_port. Then you can filter, group, and aggregate. Sets give you O1 membership testing. If you have a block list of 10,000 IPs and you are checking every incoming connection against it, a set lookup is instant regardless of size. A list scan grows linearly. For IP block lists, known bad file hashes, and revoked session tokens, always use sets. Namedtuples from the collections module give you lightweight immutable records. A security event nametuple with fields for timestamp, severity, source IP, and message is readable, hashable, and cannot be modified after creation. That immutability matters when you are building audit trails. Day 2 done. The takeaway: in security code, data types are not an academic detail. They are operational. Bytes for network data, struct for binary parsing, bytearray for packet crafting, hex and base64 for encoding, dicts for structured logs, sets for fast lookups, namedtuples for immutable records. Know which type you have, validate it at every boundary, and be explicit about conversions. Tomorrow, day 3, we cover input validation and sanitization. Subscribe so you do not miss it.